So it's all fun and games today with the DJI Mini 5 Pro. In a nutshell, DJI have released two firmwares over the last 2 days for the DJI RC2 controller. Yesterday they released 10.00.0103, and then today they released another one, believe it or not, 10.00.0150. Very, very odd. And I'm going to explain in this video exactly what I think's actually happened. Let's do this. So hello and welcome once again to the channel on this very nice day here in the UK, except for a little bit of wind, and we'll get onto that a little bit later. So as I've just said, DJI yesterday released a new firmware for the RC2. And I didn't bring that video out to you yesterday because I didn't get a chance to get the test flight in because of one thing and the other. But a good friend of the channel and a subscriber, Ian from Corby, he let me know about the update. Thanks to Ian for that. If you've not checked out Ian's channel, I'll leave a link down to his channel down in the description if you want to go and give him a follow. And so yesterday they released 10.00.0103, and it actually brought a new flyout with that firmware update for the controller, which was 1.21.0. And then today they released another one, 10.00.0150. And lo and behold, the flyout went back to 1.20.0. Now I think, to be quite honest with you, I think DJI made a mistake yesterday when they released this firmware for the RC2. So that now stands at the 0150, and it's put the flyout back to 1.20.0. Hope you're keeping up with all these zeros. So what's the point of the video today, you might ask? Well, as you all know, I like to do a test flight for you guys, and today I did a very short test flight on the Mini 5 Pro. And lo and behold, I nearly lost it. So let's get straight into the video and see exactly what it's all about. Now, it is a little bit windy out there today, and I'll show you this little pop-up just here from Drone Companion and how it actually explains that it's a critical condition. Having said that, the wind gust was 22 mile an hour. Sorry, the wind speed was 22 mile an hour. And the gust at 34 mile an hour. So nothing that this little fella can't handle. However, let's get straight into the video and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So as you can see here, this was yesterday. And as you can see there, 1.21.0, and the RC firmware was that 0103. And I can tell you that there was absolutely nothing. There was no notes. Nothing came through. There was nothing new in the menus either. Also, another thing was, on both these updates, neither of them would update unless the drone was actually connected to the RC2, which makes me think that DJI have changed the update process. And this is today's update, as you can see, the 0150, and this time the release notes was fix some known issues, which is DJI's normal take on these updates. And this is why I think they made a mistake in the release that came out on Thursday. One of the reasons I think that this update has been changed, or the process has been changed, as you can see there, once I click update, it did absolutely nothing. There was no mention of any notes or anything, and there was no update process happening. Normally what would happen is that it would download that update and then you would get your notes. As you can see just here, I went into the settings, also checked to see in the about section to see if there was any updates, and nothing was showing. So on with the flight test, and it just took it up in the local area, and it was a little bit windy, as I showed you earlier in the video. It was about 22 mile an hour the winds, so I didn't take it out too far or too high because of the winds. But what I normally do is just do a normal spotlight and then a droning and then a return to home. So you can see just here, I'm just setting it up for a spotlight. As you can see, I'm only at 66 feet, and then I do increase the altitude to around about 100 feet. And as you can see, that's working absolutely spot on, no problem whatsoever. Now here's where it gets interesting. So as you can see, I've got no strong wind warnings. There's nothing actually happening at the moment. So we just complete that spotlight. Then what I decided to do was set it up for a quick droney. So we just come out of the spotlight and I just go into the menus and set it up for a quick shot. Like I've just said, a quick droney. And just click start, and then this is where all the fun starts to happen. So I select that car as an example, and as you can see now, it suddenly decides, once it's done its countdown, I get a little strong wind warning coming up just there, a bit of a nudge, and then you can see that that altitude is starting to drop, and this is where I start to panic. As you can see, it's taking it all over the place. So I'm pushing up and I'm pushing forward, and it's just really not doing anything. And I thought, this is going to end up in somebody's garden. Then all of a sudden it decides it's going to lift up. So I thought, right, it's best to come home. Maybe it's a bit too strong. So I'm pushing ahead. And as you can see, it did struggle to find its way back. So I flipped back into video mode. Again, just over 100 feet. And I thought, well, I'll just try a quick return to home to see what happens. And as you can see, it starts to initiate, but then it really struggles to come back. And got another strong wind warning. So yeah, the strong wind warnings are affecting it, but it's just literally struggling. It's struggling to come back 6 miles an hour. So I decided to cancel that and then just land it. So as you can see, it was really struggling. Now I don't blame this at all on the update at all. This is probably just a case of it just was overpowered by the wind for some reason. I mean, we're only at 43 feet. I'm bringing it down now. And it just didn't want to know. So let's conclude it back in the studio. So there we go. That's the flight test. That's the update. Now I just need to make it quite clear that I don't think that this update has caused that height problem. It possibly is the wind. Now, another good friend of the channel, Gavin HR, we've been having conversations on the phone over the last couple of months since the Mini 5 Pro was launched. And he's always said to me that he didn't like the fact that the Mini 5 Pro was no good in the wind. Now, I've not experienced, other than the other week when I showed you where I couldn't get the drone to lower. It was struggling to come down. There was no wind at all that day, but it just wouldn't come down. But I've never had this happen to me where the drone just suddenly started losing altitude. I mean, I wasn't flying that high, 100 feet. I did get the strong wind warnings, as you saw on the screen recording, and it just started to lower itself at a rapid pace. And it was down to, well, I don't know, 60 or 50 feet above the ground. And I thought it was going to actually lose it into somebody's garden. So just as a word of warning, you know, when we get these strong wind warnings, or you check the weather apps. I mean, I use Drone Companion. I've been using it now for the last, I don't know, 6 or 8 months. And it is spot on, absolutely spot on. So like I've just said, I don't blame the update for this. Whether you guys want to update to the latest firmware on the RC2, that's entirely your choice. Like I say, I don't think that it's anything to do with why that suddenly started to drop. But as I've just said, you know, I don't really normally have any issues with the Mini 5 Pro in the wind. But as I said, Gavin does. He seems to have a problem. There was one stage where he couldn't actually fly to the left. And as you saw in the video when I was trying to get back, I know there was a bit of a wind. As I was trying to get back, it was struggling. It was bouncing about all over the place. So that's the summary of the video today. And probably a word of warning is just check your weather, okay, before you go out flying. That's what these weather apps are for. Who knows? But as I say, I should be even more cautious. I mean, I'm an experienced flyer, as you know. I've been flying drones now for about 8 or 9 years and never had anything like this happen to me before. But there's one or two people on forums, and there's lots of forums on Facebook and on the internet how a lot of people are losing drones, especially the Mini 5 Pro. So is there an issue with it? Is there an issue with the fact that the profile, how it flies? It kind of flies at this angle. Is the wind actually forcing the drone down? Who knows? So just a word of warning, I just thought I'd bring this video out to you today just to let you know exactly what it was all about. If you found it useful and informative, as always, don't forget, give us the old thumbs up. And if you're new around here, why don't you consider subscribing, dinging the dong and all the rest of it that goes with it. I'm sure you know me by now. And you might like to watch those couple of videos I've chosen for you over there. And if you do, I shall see you over there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.